I was coming down the chute, and there's hundreds of people. This is one of the rock and roll marathons. And they just announced, you know, from Wyoming, Nic Penning. And then at that moment, that's all I could think of. I was like, oh yeah, it's running. This is exactly what I want. Like, this is so awesome that you kind of get that recognition. So that was like my, I guess, oh yeah, running moment. I'm Nic Penning, and I'm originally from Wyoming. I ran and competed at Dakota State University, and now I run for the 605 race team. I actually started off in Wyoming at a junior college, at Gillette College, had some good success there running, and did some, got my associate's degree in computer information systems. I want to pursue training and running and also stuff in the computer realm, but I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. Well, what it came down to was Dakota State had a program in computer network security. And that for me sounded like really cool. It was like, oh, an opportunity to learn more about computer security and able to, you know, compete in a marathon. So it sounded like a perfect fit. So, you know, without a doubt, that's where I'm gonna head. I'm gonna go to Dakota State. Schooling went very well. I ended up getting my master's, and then I went into, after I graduated, I started working for the state of South Dakota, which was in Pierre, and then they opened an office in Sioux Falls. And that's why I'm here now. In middle school, we had to do a time mile once a year, and so I don't even know what grade I was in, but I always remember that we had to do 4 laps around the track. It was a dirt track, and it was really where I started to find that I could be good at running, because I was always in the top 5 when I ran the mile. And I think by the end of the middle school years, I finally, you know, I was the fastest in the class, so then that's where I kind of got the knack to begin running, and so then that continued on through junior high, and ran track, and track is what I liked a lot, and the mile was my favorite race, and that continued into high school. So that's kind of where I got started. Was my junior year in high school when I ran 4:41 in the mile. But going into the state track meet, I had run my best mile of 4:53, and so going into this, I think I was seated 3rd or 4th, and I just kind of went out with the leaders and kind of hung in there. And the lap to go, I was actually right there in the lead, but we just kind of took off, and with about 100 meters to go, I could hear the crowd just screaming. And I get to the line, and there was 3 of us. My buddy Mark fell off just a little bit, but it was a Cokeville kid and I. And we finished, I could have sworn, at the same exact time. So I had no idea at this point if I got second or won it or whatever it was. And then the results came out, and I won by 0.04 of a second. And that whole feeling was just, it was crazy, because I had no idea that I was going to be able to run that fast. You know, 12-second PR in the mile. And so I guess I like to analyze a lot of different things, right? So in my job, I like to analyze a lot of statistics and metrics and that type of thing. And in running, I like to do the same thing, right? So what I would say is, in my running world, I can be very analytical, and I try to look at all of the different variables as far as training goes. You know, what am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I sleeping? You know, what can I do to help improve my running? So anything when it comes to that, when it comes to training, I have to think more of, I know it's more than just the miles. It's the, you know, what are you doing for recovery? What are you doing for prevention? What are you doing for anything that's related to running? And I try to emphasize that with technology, which, you know, you got your Garmin GPS watches, you got any type of running log online, or any of the technology stuff. So for me, it's like trying to infuse all of my technical background into running, so it kind of sounds like a perfect fit. I think the morning before, I had a can of pineapple, and needless to say, by the end of that race, that I had gotten rid of all that pineapple out of my system, and it was awful. But that's probably the only time that I had puked after a race, and it was pretty embarrassing. So I was the guy that, you know, had to, you know, get rid of all of his pineapple after the race. So definitely crazy, and I see people a lot of times that are running more than me, and I call them crazy, even though they might not be as fast. They're still out there doing something a lot harder than it would be for me. So I say the same thing about those ultra marathoners and everybody else that get out there and runs every day. So I would say that it means a lot to have the 605 group runs and the morning strength sessions, because it actually gets you back into that team atmosphere. it seems like it gives you somewhat of that accountability to be like, okay, well, everyone else is showing up in the morning, you can do it too. And then for me, be able to do those things are not only helpful in a sense of help preventing injuries and that type of thing, but also it's a good way to communicate, how my training is going with other people's training, and just kind of bounce ideas off each other. And when you start to share the way things work for you in training, sometimes it works for others, you never know. So it's always good to continue to socialize in that aspect, and it's a lot more than, I guess, running at that point. You kind of get a little bit more of a social life. It's hard to have that community when you don't have these fun little group runs and that type of thing. So it's been, for me, very helpful. It's definitely what I need, I think, to succeed.